Jen Duffy, and we've got my husband here, Michael Duffy. And welcome to, we are week 58. Is that right?
6. Week
56.
56.
Sorry,
If my math
56.
is right, if my counting's been correct, we're over the first year. So,
Week 56 of Visibility University. Ask us anything. So, as always, we start with an open question, part of our session where we're going to keep it open. You can put your questions in the chat. Let us know what you have, any information that you want us to look into, and then we're going to jump into some learning at the end today. So that's where we're going to go. And I know Mike had already had a couple of people come up about one specific topic, so I thought we would jump into that as everybody starts to get on.
yes, I'm going to just type it into the chat. There we go. So, what I get asked on weekly, if not daily, why do we use Restream? And it's kind of funny because people give me their experiences with other streaming software. So, if you don't, let me just see why. Why do we use Restream? Because when you're broadcast, there's a bunch of different ways to broadcast video to the internet, right? So typically you'd be grabbing your phone and using Facebook or Instagram or TikTok or YouTube, and you'd be doing like a live selfie, or whatever you call that when you're just filming yourself live. That's great. It works. Everybody's got a phone in their hand, right? Challenges is you're only broadcasting to one platform, and if you want to become visible and discoverable, the way to get that video to all the other platforms would then to be to re-download it and then go manually upload it to all of your other social medias. That is a lot of wasted time, and that's a lot of effort. Whereas if we use broadcast streaming software, like in this example, what we've been using all of 2026 is Restream. We can take a live video like this. This is all live. We're not AI. Or a pre-recorded video, and you can broadcast it to multiple places at the same time. So you're refocusing your energy from a challenging way, manually uploading and sharing, to distributed, where you're taking a video from your phone or your laptop and sending it to multiple places at once. There is a lot of different broadcast software tools out there. Typically, people in the past, like, there's a bunch of different ways to do live streams, right? Typically, it's if you've been watching live streams at all, it's either like talking head, like Julie and I in this setup right now are broadcasting just our bodies, our upper torso and our head. Other ways to do it is gamers. Like, if you know anybody who's live streaming gaming, it's usually their head with their microphone, they're talking, and they're broadcasting their live gameplay. So people have been broadcasting video for years. There's a bunch of different methods, but every single week, like literally yesterday, I was testing. I'm like, we've been using Restream from our laptops. However, I get asked all the time, can you do it from a phone? And I'm like, yes, you can do it from a phone. I just find, since this is broadcast software and you can see on the screen we have an image, there's a ton of buttons on the broadcast software. Like, you can bring in guests, you can show images, you can play videos. Like, you've got a lot of control with this broadcast software. So I think it would be a little bit of a challenge to run the broadcast software from a phone if you're filming from your phone and constantly touching the buttons. But I was having a conversation with somebody yesterday. He's like, my podcast. He's like, I'm using StreamYard, and I'm like, StreamYard's an option. You can likely do the same stuff we're teaching our students in Restream. You can likely do majority of that in StreamYard. I've used StreamYard in the past. I've used Riverside in the past. I've used OBS Studio in the past. I've used a lot of different. I've used Zoom. Like, I know a lot of people record stuff using Zoom and then they're manually uploading it to all their social medias. The reason we've introduced Restream is because I find it makes us so much more efficient, which allows us then to increase raise the production level of the video, because we can, bring in multiple guests, we can add a bunch of other stuff. Restream allows us to clip into shorts automatically. There's a lot of powerful tools in Restream, and you can start using Restream for free if you're only connecting to 2 different social medias. This one, we're broadcasting it to 5 or more. Anyway, I get this question a lot. Why Restream? Why
Not to cut you off, but I
Go
want to
ahead,
make one
cut
more
me
note
off.
before we do that. Let's be honest. One of the main reasons is because I was frustrated with the process. That was one of the big things. I kept going, there's got to be something easier. I don't like these platforms. And then we started searching, and that was really to be more efficient on going and showing up live.
What I'm saying, there's multiple. That's I usually end that with the joke. I'm like, I needed something my wife could use, and was super easy. And what she's using is a MacBook. So, but she was on the phone. You were on the phone, and we were attempting to live stream multiple places from the same time as the phone. We've never tried Restream from the phone until I tried it yesterday, because I was like, hey, I've got students asking if it would be easier for them to do Restream from the phone. I'm like, you can do it from your phone, but we're thinking also about video quality and audio quality, and we find that microphones on the phones just aren't, unless you're using a wireless lapel mic, your audio quality is just not going to be that great. And I also find that your phone, the internet connection is probably going to be another variable, because if anybody knows, if you've used your phone to live stream before, you're great until it cuts out. And I think using your computer, your laptop at home with a stable internet connection is just going to give you a much better experience.
Well, in fairness, when I first started doing lives, it was on the phone, and I was doing a vertical right directly to YouTube only, and it was okay, but there was consistent issues of like the volume not working, or me cutting out, and then you'd have to come and tell me, and then I had to have like the right what is it, can't even think of the word, the thing to hold your phone. Why can I not remember that
Tripod,
word?
tripod.
There you go. Thank you. The tripod. And I did find like the complexity versus using a computer in one area and having the whole setup, so you're really producing, is much nicer, cleaner. And the fact, like you said, being able to stream it to more than one place, right? So then I don't have to manually go and download it and then repost it up onto every single social media after the fact is really handy. So, using Restream has a huge amount of perks, and we definitely will walk you through specific issues when you join us and you show up, right? So, I know we've got Lucretia here, so I thought I would say hi and find out how you're doing today. And did you have any questions before we jump into another question that we had?
I do have a question. So you guys know that I did that live on Substack this week, and she tagged me in it, and it posted to my page and everything, and then it gave me the option to post it. So now I feel like it looks funny on my Substack because it's both about like the 2 posts are like back to back, but and there's the option there to like once I post it to send it to my YouTube channel. But I know you guys use Substack too. Do I need to like repost it to be able to like do more with it, or can I just do it from like the one that I'm tagged in? Do you know? I haven't played around with it.
Okay, so I have a couple comments on that. Now, first off, most of mine when I'm going live, besides Substack, because Substack I can't live stream both vertical and horizontal, and I've had a number of issues. So often after the fact, that is one I will manually upload to and then post it as a separate video. I won't necessarily live stream to Substack just because I have not found the perfect process for it where it's always consistent. And even with Rumble, we still have, it's not as streamlined every time, right? So there's a couple of them that don't seem to work as well. But um, I wouldn't really worry what it looks like on your page of Substack, because in fairness, when I use Substack, I'm usually on the one screen where it's like kind of like where everybody's comments show up. I don't
Like your
spend a lot of
newsfeed type of thing.
I don't spend a lot of time going to somebody's home screen. In all honesty, I don't even know if I've ever really clicked on it to somebody else's home
Okay.
screen besides things they've posted. So I wouldn't worry about that so much until you've got a bigger following, right? Until you've got a huge following, and if you think it really matters how that looks and if they're going to care, that's one thing. Now we've talked about it, and I think our set, like, Mike, remind me, because I know when I showed you that we could go from Substack to YouTube, I didn't want to hook it up because on the back end, I am skeptical about having too many things hooked up to my accounts, right? So if I know what I'm controlling, I know I have control of my account. We can restream through the back end, but I don't really know the process with Substack. Wasn't that part of the conversation? Plus, we didn't know if it was.
Well, it's one of these things where since we're like, since we're since we got monetized accounts, and there's always this worry that like with the algorithm, whether it's penalizing you when you're not manually uploading straight from your device, like from your computer or your device to your phone, and you got all these hooks coming in, like we got the, it's a tough question to answer, because even like Julie's, okay, for full transparency, like Julie's noticed that when we've gone live stream, get less views when she was doing it natively from her phone, right? So we're like, okay, play with what are we willing to connect to YouTube versus doing it manually? Because I don't want to believe YouTube says they don't limit your reach. The algorithm doesn't lessen your reach because you're using automation or streaming tools. However, I don't necessarily believe that based on other,
Well, based on our own experience,
based on
there wasn't.
history, and we can look at the numbers but then I'm like, maybe so. And of course, this new feature, like we're live streaming both horizontal and vertical to YouTube, and it wasn't really a thing. YouTube announced it in 2025, but didn't really bring it out until 2026, and we only stumbled upon it with the restream because we knew, like, there was not really any instructions for doing it from YouTube. YouTube's like, do it, but they didn't
Yes,
really
and
provide
their
any
instructions were,
instructions.
yeah, their instructions were very clunky and very like archaic, right? Like you would have to have your phone
They
set
want
up
they
to
want you
do
to
the
use two
vertical.
different
Exactly.
YouTube
They
wants
want you
you
to
to
be
use
doing
two
two
different
different
devices.
devices to do the stream simultaneously, which doesn't help if you want to have display things, because then only one of your devices you can display something, unless you're going to be somehow, because I don't know how you do it on your phone. I have not mastered that. But if you want it to show up both ways, this was the way I could have consistency of showing up both vertical and horizontal. I could have a screen show. I can then also see the comments on both vertical and horizontal. This one solved a lot of problems, but in the transparency, is YouTube not pushing my content as much? It does look like that, where when I would only be uploading vertical, I would get more views. But does that necessarily help me as much is also the question, because if people are viewing something but they're not really watching, well, they're probably not the right people for my content. So it's great, to get more and more eyes. You're going to find more people that are going to see you. But my thought was getting to more platforms was even more important, right? So you have to kind of rate what is most important for what you are creating, because like we're doing with our visibility engine, we are literally customizing for each user what's going to work for them and what tools they like using. Right now, if somebody really likes Substack and likes doing it the opposite way, so going live to Substack and then feeding it to YouTube, and that works really well for them, and they're ideally we want to do more than just the two, but that's a process we put in place if that's what really works for you, right? For us, that's not been our experience because I do not find Substack consistent. That is my problem. It's not consistent on. We're even trying to figure out why sometimes it gives you shorts, sometimes we've had problems, and then we're wondering, like in the back end, if there's too many shorts it's made, so then it won't make any more shorts, and if you have to go clear it out. But then it's different because it's difficult to go in the back end. It's not as clear as other social media forms, right? So
Yeah,
it's
How much time have you spent on Substack, Lucretia?
that was my first live.
Well, I know, but have you been like reading, like following other people getting set up on Substack?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Like I read a lot on Substack, but I haven't.
I was gonna just say I read it a lot. If somebody posts a video, I don't watch it. I'm just like reading their. I guess it's like the 2026 version of a blog. I don't know,
well,
but
and you are right, because how I end up using it. This is how I end up using it most of the time is I will do my live stream, I will download it, and then I will upload it as a posting to Substack with the description, which my descriptions, I know we talked about that in our private session, but my descriptions are pretty thorough, especially when I'm doing the astrology stuff. So they could literally just read the description and they know what my video is about. And that's how I've been posting it. So I'm getting some content on there. I don't think it's necessarily my perfect platform, but I do like certain aspects of it. So that's how I've been using it.
I liked that it would like because I did the live this time, so I was able to see like the text version. They did like audio, and then there was like the video. So I like that it has the three mediums, like, and I feel like I could probably use that more. But obviously, YouTube this year is my focus. So unless I'm doing it like I'm this kind of posting the same thing or whatever, I'm probably not gonna do too much with it unless like
I see it valuable as a way. It'd be like auto posting to Reddit if we could do that, or just text transcripts from the shows or whatever. Because Visibility University, we want to make content and get it everywhere. And so that's why we've tried Substack. We've struggled with it a little bit. I know some people seem to be doing amazing with it, and maybe they just have mastered it by spending enough time with it. But again,
Well,
I'm reading articles, not necessarily watching
yes.
anybody's videos, because I'm in YouTube all like I'm just end up in YouTube all day. But that's just because that's where we've spent thousands and thousands and thousands of hours. So, but I see somebody post something on Facebook, and that takes me to their Substack, and then I'm back looking at their YouTube, like, why is this not on YouTube? Is
Well,
my
and in
circle.
fairness, I do both. I'll watch a video and I will read from Substack. And this is a lot of us just figuring out, you want to be everywhere and want to be visible. How is the easiest way we can use all the different platforms to get our message there, right? And which platforms are better for certain things, but we still want to show up, right? So we're even working on, okay, some platforms are much easier to get your content on than other platforms because they just don't talk to the back end yet. It's something I would assume will happen and continue to develop, but it is not a perfect system. Like even with Restream, I can go to Rumble, but there's still a manual process because we've ran into a number of glitches with Rumble. Like if we change the time because we're running late, right? Because we've been traveling and we have to adjust the time. And I've already set it up on the Rumble studio because you have to feed it in the back end. I
Rum,
cannot live stream to it. It seems to.
Rumble has its own like broadcast center, so it's like like you have to run Restream and run Rumble, and then Rumble's got to catch the feed, and usually it works. And then when it doesn't, it completely frustrates you. But this is why it's nice doing everything in Restream, because it's recorded in Restream, and we can just literally, if it doesn't, if Rumble doesn't, if it doesn't go to Rumble properly, we can just, once this live is done, we can go and hit reschedule and then resend it to Rumble, and then it usually works on the second attempt.
Exactly. Yes,
So
exactly. And we can also we could technically do that with Substack. I have preferred to just manually upload it just because it has been way less consistent than Rumble. Rumble just will have a weird issue occasionally, and it's often because I'm changing time, and clearly their end does not like if you change a time, even if you change a time on
Oh, so
both.
you were and when you initially schedule it, and then if you go change the schedule time to a little bit later, it doesn't like that.
Yeah, it doesn't seem it seems to always break, right? So then these are things that we're learning on how those software, because not all software is complete is the same, right? And they're all created differently. And if you even think about with YouTube and all the different apps, you've got YouTube Studio, you've got the YouTube for the desktop, you've got the YouTube Creator app, you've got actually different ones, and they're not all the same. Sometimes you can't do the same process on your phone on one app as you can on your desktop. Sometimes it's just a different process, right?
Well,
Because
and
really we're just keep evolving and they're adding more things, and then they're working together.
and I
It's
think that's
getting
my
better.
the one answer I have when I get questions is I'm like, well, have you tried it? Because I can only give you my answer based on what we've tried over months, if not years, with a particular app or a particular platform. So when I got the questions yesterday, I was like, well, have you tried it? Have you tried it? Because I can say, hey, it's great. Restream's great. Oh, yeah, the pricing is better. Oh, yeah, I tested a trial. Oh, yeah. I'm like, well, I don't see your content out there. So, are you interested in getting started? I'm like, because you can literally, anyone who has an audio based podcast out there, any other content, you can bring it into Restream. You can literally just, you don't have to use Restream. You can literally go grab your Facebook Lives or your TikToks or your audio only podcast. Like YouTube will even, like, you can go manually upload it to YouTube, or guess what? If you've got an audio only podcast, YouTube does catch RSS feeds. I haven't been asked this question in like probably 6 months. But you can always send your audio only podcast into YouTube with the RSS feed, just for it to be another place to be indexed by the Google search engines and the AI search engines, so you show up on a Google search, just because you just want your content, your words, like your message, just to be as many places as possible. And if you can
Well, to
actually,
feed back into the engine, right?
and you
Because
know
that's
what,
actually what I wanted.
I bring this up with a lot of people. I'm like, we're using Restream really to run reruns, because
Mhm.
once you've recorded it, I'm like, yeah, well, once you've put it up on YouTube and all these other platforms, yeah, it's up there to discover. But what's stopping you from replaying the rerun once a day? You just go into Restream and add it to your broadcast schedule.
Yes. And there's actually a couple ways we do that, because I actually use repurpose in that way as well. So I also have another software where it'll push to a bunch of platforms I cannot necessarily live stream to, because like Instagram, I don't have enough followers. But I want the content to show up on Instagram. So I use repurpose, and it's attached to one of my
It
playlists on YouTube, and then it pushes it through. So after the fact, I may not even put it into that folder, and then because now I have it go both vertical and horizontal, so I get two of every video because I'm streaming it twice. And then I will go like the next day and put it in that folder, and I know it'll get pushed to that social media. And then I'm kind of getting to the habit where it's every second day I'll do, so one day I'm doing it and then another day, so it's showing up different days, the same, essentially the same video. One's just vertical, one's horizontal, and I've started doing that as a process. Before, I would just always put them right into the folder, and they would immediately get posted into those other social medias. But then I started thinking, why am I doing back to back? Because then they would see the exact same video twice, where I'm going to be much more successful if I have it go, you know, post my horizontal one day, and then the next day at a different time post a vertical. Then people are going to be more likely to run into it, because you're giving more chances of a potential viewer, customer, of seeing your stuff the more it gets pushed. So that would also be the same in Restream, right? So if you could
you,
always
you
just
literally gave to you. I was like, oh wait, yeah. The other reason Restream is the horizontal vertical at the same time. Okay, there's so many
exactly,
reasons to use
exactly. That's the
Restream.
big thing, right? Where Restream, we can do that because TikTok likes horizontal, or sorry, vertical, right? But a lot of the other social medias,
It actually works with both.
oh, does it now? Well, I
It
know it
does.
seems to prefer it always automatically, when I go to TikTok, it automatically always goes portrait.
Well, I've noticed, because actually, in order for you to get you have it's they're there. You haven't had a problem with it. TikTok, when you request live stream, wanted majority of the content to be gaming, and but they accepted the stream anyway. So anyway, just
As a side
there's so
note,
many ways. There's so many benefits for using the software, and guess what? Free for up to 2 streaming accounts. Yes, you'll have the watermark, but guess what? As I teach all of our students, you don't necessarily have to live stream everything. Just get into the studio and hit record and practice your script, practice your timing, practice playing with these on-screen images and how you want to visualize your message to your audience. Because the only way you're going to feel comfortable in your own skin broadcasting is if you actually practice it. And we're used to doing that in the mirror. This is like your 2026.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Here's your 3D version of that. So I guess, okay, so Lucretia, I know we kind of answered but didn't really. We're not really sure, like I would play
I,
around with it because I do know what is, like you said, that you can convert it into the different forms, which is super useful. So maybe a plan that once you do your lives and you do it through your restream, that you then can put it to Substack, and we can also work on it because we can show you how we were putting it through Substack, but just because it wasn't consistent is why we
I think
stopped
I think it
doing
was
it.
just I think it's just with Substack when you get set up with a Substack account, like you got to go through all the steps. It's like Rumble. You got to have X amount of subscribers. There's a bunch of but it's, each of these social platforms, there's a bunch of different steps you need to go through to enable live streaming. And then, of course, you have to test it to verify it actually works, right? Because that would have been our experience. YouTube's easy. You go request it, you get granted 24 48-hour access. You get live stream. You can't do that from your phone unless you got 50 subs, but you can do it from broadcast software like this with under 50 subs. TikTok, you got to request it and go live a couple times in shorter lengths before they let you do like an hour-long live stream. We don't have any experience with Instagram because you need 1,000 subscribers on Instagram. Julie and I are not in that boat, and I don't think any of our students that have come across yet are in that situation with Instagram. Substack and Rumble, there's definitely a bunch of steps to a bunch of instructions you need to go through and before they allow you to send a live stream there. That's why we've been testing it. Results have been inconsistent and we haven't really spent that much time, but I know you can manually go from Substack up to YouTube. We just haven't chosen to do that yet because we're just like,
Well, I was really hesitant just because of
is it gonna break our
sounded
views
like
on YouTube?
Well, Mike, it actually, when I was going through it, and I could be wrong, but it did sound a lot like you were giving, when you give editor abilities, that was how it sounded like. And I was like, I don't want to give Substack editor abilities to my
Well,
YouTube.
we
And that was when I started going through it. So I never hooked it up because I'm like, I'm not going to do it this way.
Well, do you want to talk about editor access at all, or should we just go? We're like halfway. Did you have
Well,
any
that
other?
might be a good one to talk about next week, would
Okay.
be the editor access. Did you have any other questions, Lucretia?
No, I think that was just it. I know that like I use Descript a lot, and I'll automatically like push it from Descript to YouTube, and that's worked well for me. And my videos, those ones are mostly private because they're like client stuff that I'm doing for clients. So like
Instructionals,
the
yeah.
views are not like something I care about or was really paying attention to because it was just for that client. But that's probably something that I'm going to start playing with again too, because I know all of like my podcasts and stuff I edit through Descript.
Well, and play around with the Substack because I do know it does like those features. Like it does have some great ones. One of my favorites is like after you post something, it'll show you like if you have an image and it'll have like a little write up. It actually looks really cool. So it's a really great way. I like how it does because it is much more for reading, right? So it'll definitely do up like an article to attach with your video and stuff like that. So play around with it because maybe you can become our master of Substack because I've been working with it. I've not mastered that.
I'm always looking for feedback and tips because we only experience what we get to experience, and if somebody can show me something more efficient or a process that works well, that's what it's been funny to get so much feedback on Restream for people to tell me, oh yeah, I like it, I like the pricing, I like this, I like this, I like this. I'm like, why haven't you started? Because
When I do go live on,
they're paying for something else for a year and they haven't really used it. That's the answer. It's because they're paying for
yeah,
it.
Well, we want
I,
to help people be motivated. If you paid for it, we want you to use what you paid for, right? Like
yeah,
if you're going to pay for streaming software, let's get you streaming. It doesn't even matter. It doesn't have to be a long stream, right? Like just get you comfortable using tools, because obviously when you take the step and the initiative to buy tools or pay for a subscription, you really want to do it. But then when you don't start using it, it's like you just need that little boost, right? This little
It's like I got 2 days to use up all my credits. That's where I'm going to be for the next 2 days, and I'm turning off the subscription. But I really want it, but I just can't commit.
yes.
I may not have that problem right now. I may or may not have that problem right now. So
I was looking. I can go live on Instagram, so that might be another channel that I add.
yay, congrats. I don't know, because people have told us they could, and then they've tried it, and they're like, I'm like, this is why we're saying just play with it and then report back, because we all need help with different social medias and being consistent, and that's why we like this so much, because it's good to start with to grow as many social medias as you have.
And as you go through it, Lucretia, and you get set up, let us know, because if you do run into issues, Mike can totally help you, even if he's not a pro with it, because he loves learning it, and he would totally be like, okay, let's see what your problem is, because when I've had issues, that's obviously that's
I'm
who we
like,
go to.
when's the last time? And like when Restream doesn't work, I'm like, when's the last time you logged out of the computer, rebooted it? Because I'm like, there's got to be something. Just because it's browser based, it's in. If you're on the computer, it does work in most browsers. On the phone, though, on the iPhone, it only supports Safari. Does not work with Chrome. And there's been certain things where we're like, is it us? Or is it them? Or do we just need to look at this tomorrow because it's completely infuriating us? So there is that factor.
Yeah, you just need to rest. Just go
I'm
have
just
a nap,
saying,
go to bed. It'll be better tomorrow.
everybody I show Restream to likes it, but again, it's not my software. I'm not even like a affiliate for it, because I could tell you I don't really like being an affiliate for anything, but we use it. It's what we like, and anyway.
And it could change at any moment, because if there's better software that comes, we will never ever hold ourselves to a brand, because we know how much things change. And that is the reality. Is one thing might start and be, oh, this is great, but yeah, we have personal preferences that if it's not something we create and control, we're not going to necessarily promote it and sell it. We may suggest that this is what we're using right now, but not guarantee that that's what we're going to be using.
Well, remember, I told you when I was at the YouTube office at the end of March 2026, I showed the YouTube employees what we were doing with YouTube University, because obviously I'm using the word YouTube in this these classes that we're running, and I want to make sure everything's kosher. And I showed that they didn't even know Restream Live. They talk about, they want us all to use broadcast software to increase the production quality, because they know they got a problem. There's not enough content. The YouTube creators are not making enough content for the advertisers and the amount of eyeballs looking at YouTube every single day.
Well, and fair enough. That is a complete perfect assessment, because you're not making enough because you stop and or give up, and then the content doesn't get better because you stop producing it. And that is actually a true point. The more you keep showing up and the more production you do and the more you produce content, the better your content will get. Like that is just going to happen, because the more you do it, the more you assess yourself, the more you start watching your own videos, it will get better. And we are at a point where Mike and I were actually talking about, this will actually be really good what we're going to go into, but I want to talk about kind of what is defined as AI slop on YouTube. Okay, so AI slop essentially is where there's no human value added to the content. And then we were listening to somebody who's been very successful all doing AI. So I'm like, this is a fine line of where they're literally producing AI slop, but they're allowed to, and they're not being taken down, because this person even admitted they don't actually even watch their videos. So they're cloned, their voice is cloned, their video script is made by AI. They don't actually do any human part of it. The AI is even researching what they're going to talk about. And of course, it's always the trends of whatever is going to be clickable. And then this person didn't even know that it was saying something wrong because they didn't watch their own videos. That should be AI slop. But that's going through the system, and YouTube for whatever reason is letting that go through, right? So it's going to be interesting how we see.
They're letting it through right now because it's not animation, and like 99% of the AI slops animation. So they're
See,
focused
and
right
I'm
now.
like, is that the only thing? So it's like, no,
I
it's
Julie,
not
there's
really
so
that
much.
person. It's an
There's so much.
avatar, right? It's a cloned voice, but because it's not a cartoon or a likeness, then that's okay. Even though this person has never read the script, didn't edit anything, didn't even watch the video after, right? So there's a problem. And then what is coming up is that the big solution to this is going to be authentic humans making content. And that is really the push of where I think a lot of viewers are also going to be tired of seeing, like, why are you hiding behind an avatar? Why are you hiding behind things? People want, the more we get AI impersonating humans, I think the more we're going to want humans wanting to have real humans to interact with, right? So that's why I'll even say, like, if the other day I choked on some water, and I'm like, I turn off my camera, come back, and I'm like, see, I'm not AI. I'm legitimately a human here having a conversation with you, right? So we're in a very interesting time. But let's go into what we wanted to talk about today, which does overlap a little bit about that, and it is um what's working on YouTube in 2026, what small channels are doing differently. So this is really what is, I think, the future. And yes, I do agree. Avatars can be very aggressive in their delivery. And then you're always wondering, and I wonder if the person doesn't watch their avatar, as a side note before we get into that, because they cringe because they know it's not them. They can find all the imperfections of the avatar, right? And that's so they don't like watching their own avatar. And so then I'm like, well, if you don't even like watching your own avatar, you need to do some healing because you got to get good at like watching yourself.
Well, and one thing is, I think the main reason it was created as an industry was just for video sales letters, like for stuff that's supposed to be in a closed loop, not necessarily for mainstream content
Content.
production on YouTube. But hey, if you master it, well, it doesn't even mean you master it, because the thing we were watching, I was like, you admitted it that you weren't even watching your videos you're putting out there. I was like, mind
Well,
blowing.
and
Okay.
this creator does admit that they're an avatar and they're using AI. They admit it, like that's not hidden. But when they're in this interview being interviewed, they admit that they don't. There is no human process. And then she's kind of bragging about the fact that her life
You're
used
not identifying anybody, no male
this
or
person's
female.
life. It's now so much more relaxed because they used to have to struggle to get up and do stuff every day. Now they can just sit there and relax for their mental health. I'm like, literally, you're doing nothing now. Your AI, you're making AI slop. You've just admitted it. If you didn't even know it wasn't saying something right, that actually infuriates me that you didn't add any value to it. And then I said, well, is the trend going to be that everyone's going to have an AI avatar, everyone's going to have an AI voice, and then their AI will because all the AIs will be finding the same trends or of the same content, and we'll have a
Well,
million videos of the exact same trending content because
that
that's all that's left.
that brings up the we went to the YouTube event in Dallas yesterday, and the creator I was sitting next to was pondering this very thing, right? Because he's like, all my niches or are um multiple niches, multiple channels. Is like they're all like saturated by AI slop. And I'm like, the only way you compete is you outlast the creators who are popping out AI slop. So I'm like, this is what you do. Use Restream. Schedule your stuff on repeat every single day, right? Because you will, if you're authentic human, you can just replay your stuff every single day. You will, if you do that longer than the AI slop is out there, you're going to outlast them because
Well,
the
and
person.
You are right. And what the tips are. So these big things of what small creators are doing, these are not AIs. This is not doing avatars. These are what people are going to be looking for, because we are having a backlash. People are, getting tired of the fact, like we talked about in our two reel, where you're dealing with a chatbot and the chatbot for a website gives you all the wrong information, but they work for that website and that company. Then you go to the company and the company's like, well, why would you believe my chatbot? Because it's your chatbot on your website. It should be trained giving me the correct information. Then they go, oh, well, go call them. Well, they've got AI answering the phones as well. So we're getting so inundated where you can't even have human interaction. And people are already getting to the point of being tired of that. They want to be like, AI is useful. We want to use it as a tool. We want to have some of the ease of it, but we still need to have humanity in part of it. And that actually goes with another, all our shows do overlap. The honestly, though, when we talked about the Pope writing the 45,000 word humanitarian document or whatever, where he specifically says he's concerned about humanity and people giving up the hard work, the hours and the effort to learn stuff. That is what people are giving up. And that's a perfect example of this creator where there is no human part of it.
Well, I've always said, whatever script you make in YouTube University, Visibility University, whatever script you make, even if it's AI, you should be familiarizing yourself with that script, because I'm hoping you're reading it. But if it's, because if an audience, somebody in the future says, hey, I love your video on this, if your whole process is automated, you don't even know what content you're putting up. You're not
Exactly. You won't
familiarizing
even know
yourself
what your AI
with that
said if you're not
content.
listening, right? Exactly,
Because
exactly.
because if you ever, we've been in this situation before, if you ever get flagged on your YouTube account, YouTube is going to ask you to make a video of you documenting how you make your own videos. And if you
And
can't
that
pass
and that
that
was
test,
and what you're pointing out is that was way before this AI stuff. This was early on when I was starting to get when I was at the monetization level, but I had gotten in trouble for something I had posted, and so they wanted me to show them and prove I was human, and I was adding a process to it. And the only thing I was using that wasn't human per se was Canva at that time. So I was using Canva for my images, but everything else was my own, taking a card, reading it, interpreting it, etc., etc. And I had to prove that back in, like, that was like 2022, I think it was, right around there, 2022, 2023. So I find it amazing that this creator with these avatars have gotten to this point. I'm like, what point are they being held accountable? Where's the human part? And I was being, grilled about that 4 years ago, right? So I find, like, where this is going to go is going to be interesting.
I
But
had I had to say I had the same issue at monetization. They're like, why do you have so many watch hours on these videos? I'm like, go watch them. They're DIY tech. Like, it's literally me recording my like, you know, it's me holding an iPhone recording something on a computer. I'm like, they're literally DIY tech videos. So you get to that monetization level,
and you
YouTube.
had to prove it. And you had to
I
prove
had
it,
to
right?
prove it. I
And
had
then
to
you're and
prove
then
it.
we look at these other
And you're also proving
creators.
that it's your content and that you didn't steal
Yes.
it from another channel, right?
Well, exactly. And then we're seeing these creators promoting software to literally take out the human process to make these videos, which, again, like we said, for a commercial, for something in a short content, fair enough. But when you're actually showing up every week, you're promoting stuff, and like what this person's doing is trends. It's getting AI to even look up the trends and then writing the whole thing, right?
Oh,
So
yeah,
we're getting to a point.
because they're farming keywords. They're taking what are the most searched keywords in whatever space this week and auto generating a script.
And I'm saying, you, the viewer, get to choose if that content continues to be successful. If you want to promote people to not show up, not actually have to work, and literally give you the same AI slop, keep supporting the people that are using AI fully. Not just for images, not just for the script, not just for this, like, people are using it. Yeah, people are using it to support. But if you know that content is all AI, you choose whether you want to support that or not. Do you want to support people not actually making content? And then people are literally just sitting there like, ha ha ha, I don't have to do anything in my life. I don't even have to watch my own video. Not going to say it bugs me a little bit, but let's go through
Okay.
what small channels
We
are
need to
doing.
share what we find out there and what we don't find authentic, because, you know, it may be great for now if you're making money on that YouTube channel. Not going to guarantee it's going to be forever.
Well, I'm going to say it's funny you mentioned that because this creator said that it was so authentic and I literally lost it. I'm not going to lie. We're listening to this and I start ranting when I'm like,
I tell my wife, I
inauthentic.
because what I do is that when I meet you and I'm looking over your YouTube channel, I'm really running you through a process where I'm using my tools to figure out how you got your subscribers, because some channels are
I know you're always researching, but I'm not
research.
gonna lie. When that person put out, yes, exactly. The Sicilian within myself that I don't not. My German came out, and I'm like, no, you're so inauthentic. There is nothing authentic when you have not done any human process in this. So don't tell me that this is authentic. And I'm like, are other people here listening to this like able to not lose their minds and aren't rolling their eyes? But that is the side note, because trust is winning. So right off the bat, I've lost trust for that creator because there is no human value in that content, right? So today's algorithm rewards what people believe. So truth, say what others won't. This is a big thing. If you're talking about things that are not as popular or that other people are holding their tongue, or your AI isn't going to create the content because it's not going to create a controversy, right? Like that is going to be a trusting thing, talking about the things that other people won't, right? Prove it with experience, right? Often when we're teaching or talking about our things, I know you're doing that, Lucretia, by experience, right? Like you're teaching them how to do things from your own knowledge, right? Visibility, like we're always talking about. People discover and connect when they start searching for it, because the reality, like we've talked about with evergreen content, is you want to have it how you're solving people's problems as much as possible, because when they go looking for it, that's how they're going to search the problem. And hopefully your content with a solution will show up, right? And then impact, income, freedom is the results. You're building the trust. The people start to trust you. They start to invest in you, watch your videos, and the end result, especially if you have your own business, is buy your products or your services, the things that you offer. Comments on that, Mike?
No, nothing. It's pretty straightforward. Do you want to know what the whole reason of our training, Visibility University, is really to shorten that time. I was at a networking meeting yesterday morning, right? And they were talking about how to improve. Everybody in business loves talking about KPIs. They're like to talk about how many leads they need and conversions. And I'm like, okay, you guys are focused on leads and conversions, but the two biggest factors that are going to hit you is how you deal with objections and how you can shorten that sales cycle. Because I know, and I'm like, really, if you can shorten that know, like, and trust cycle, how are you going to do that efficiently? And they're all coming up with examples. I'm like, make videos, get yourself your videos, get your long videos, get your shorts from your longs, get those shorts everywhere, including Google My Business, because the more people see you, they're going to choose you over competition, but they need to trust you.
Exactly. And when you keep showing up saying the same thing and they're like, oh, look, this person still shows up. This person's been truthful. I believe this person, right? Because that's how we're building trust in our new reality, in our new communication, especially with that Uranus and Gemini technology communication. That is how we're building.
It's funny that we're talking about this, because it's like the Wednesday conversation where one of our students is like, somebody gave me negative feedback about YouTube and it's not a podcast. And it's like, your podcast should be everywhere, not just on one platform or two platforms. Apple and Spotify should be everywhere, because you don't know who's going to discover you. because they just random chance found you because they were looking up the topics you were talking about.
Exactly. Or they just catch you on a live and they're
Guess
like,
what?
wow, I didn't even know you existed.
I
And
used
I
to
love
be
it.
huge Apple Podcasts. I wasn't even looking at you. I wasn't even looking at YouTube until one person suggested, they're like, oh, why is your tech show only on one platform? I was like, well, because they recruited me. And they're like, put it on YouTube. It was like, why? And then I was like, I've been doing things wrong.
Well, okay, the reality is we're probably always doing things wrong, and you don't know how to make them better until you start doing things, right? And until people start pointing things out. But so the trust is the huge thing. We're building trust and specific wins. People don't search categories, which is true. They're not just, like, oh, you're not going to go and just search sports. If you're looking for FIFA or like the World Cup, you're going to be searching that specifically, right? So, be specific. Try to title your videos where you're solving problems and attempting to get that clarity, right? So you can help be found and earn that trust specifically on what you're helping with.
Yeah, I was gonna say, it's like mechanics. So like I know when I started getting disillusioned with the mechanics because we had so many vehicles, I felt like I found one mechanic channel, and he's like, this is what you buy, this is what you don't buy. And he's like, these are all the reasons why. And that channel, over like 10 years of watching him, just grew because crazy guy, crazy looking guy.
But he's
But
built the trust.
he's like, don't buy these vehicles because I fix them all the time. This is the constant thing. I fix on them every single time. And you're like, okay, so your narrow goes, like your vision goes from like, I'm in the market for a new vehicle, but now I can instantly just cross off like all these makes and models.
Well, see, he's already done the two different things. First off, he's built the trust because he keeps showing up, keeps talking about his real experience, etc. And I assume the titles are probably specific, like what he's saying. So when you're looking for that problem you're attempting to fix on your vehicle, he will
Like,
show
why
up
you don't
because
buy
that's
this brand? The two good things about this brand and the negative stuff.
exactly right.
Outweigh it.
So then we also have, say what others won't say. So that again goes back to what I like saying is like, everything is fine. Well, here's what nobody's talking about, right? So like being honestly and truthful, because we really live in a reality that, if you're looking at it and you're listening to traditional media, everything is fine, except for whatever the media decides that you need to be freaking out about,
The
right?
dumpster's on fire.
Let's say,
Everything
what
is
are
fine.
they telling you isn't fine? Antivirus, wars, right? Everything else is fine, like whatever the media is pushing, right? Where when you start talking about it, like we talked about on our Honestly Though on Thursday, talking about the data centers, talking about the digital ID, talking about the things that people are kind of seeing, but it's very segmented. It's not being highlighted on one media. Like you're not seeing on mainstream media all the pushback against the data centers. You're not seeing that. You might have a little blurb on one local newspaper, which is happening everywhere simultaneously, but it's not getting like national coverage, right? So those are things, things that people won't talk about, mistakes, like being honest about that. Like that is what the being human, like I said, like, we choking on water or coughing or just saying a word incorrectly that
That's how you know
on
it's
an
AI
AI
slop.
voice.
That's how you know how it's AI slop, and the words don't match the captions, and you're like, they did not say that properly. Okay,
Yeah. Well, you know what? When the word matches, but
and
it's
it
the
may
wrong
not be
word. And
slop,
when the
but
word matches and it's the wrong word, you just know that human
no,
made
no,
the
no.
wrong
If the
word.
video looks amazing, but the words don't match, then it's slop.
Yeah, exactly.
Because
There.
you can always put filters on faces or whatever. Because I know that's how a lot of there might be other platforms out there where slops very popular. So I'm not going to mention those platforms, but
Well, I think
these filters are
I think there is a
amazing.
space for that. There is a space for that. However, I think people really need to understand, when you're coming to an AI, was there any human part? If it's an AI avatar, if it's an AI cloned voice, and is the script AI, and then if it's making a mistake, this creator didn't even watch it. And then that's like us, we have to become more conscious in what we're consuming. Are we promoting and supporting people that aren't doing things we really want to support? Like, do we really want to
No, okay,
support a lot of AI content?
you know what they're promoting. They're promoting the easy win because there is softwares out there that say, "Hey, make
You
cartoon
don't
movies."
have to work.
You
You
can get
don't have to
monetized. You can get monetized. You can get monetized by having faceless channels. You can do this. You could do this. You could do this. But I'm like, if you're not actually if you're not doing the quality control and actually creating it, you're not going to be able to prove to YouTube you know how you made it. Because if your proof to YouTube is you logging into a website to output a movie that you didn't create yourself, I think you're gonna lose that case.
Well, it's an interesting. It's going to be interesting to see where that goes. Like, all I can say is that, being mindful of what you're participating in is a key as we go forward, right? Like, and if you want to promote and be all pro, I love AI content, that's your total choice. I don't, but I do think there's a lot of people who don't want to necessarily watch hours and hours of content that there is no human behind. And fair enough, like, I'll watch things where I know it's an AI avatar. I've recognized it. I've seen this avatar on other videos, so I know this is not a real person. And I'm listening to their thing. I'm still doing the assumption that they've read that script. Now,
Assumption.
how do you find out that they didn't, or they didn't go over it until, well, first off, they're making a mistake that they didn't fix, right? Because they didn't watch it, or they're just like, oh, nobody will care, right? Which I had early on using some AI software where it did not pronounce things, and but I had spent so much time and I couldn't fix that wording. I would produce it, but now the technology is getting better, right? So now we're getting better technology. So it's an interesting. It's going to be interesting how that all about develops, anyways. But we have be specific, build that trust showing up, say what others won't say. That's what people are looking for, and proof gets found, right? So have a question that you're answering, that you are answering, have that content, build the trust. That's going to create that visibility through the evidence of you showing up and consistently talking about it, that you do know what you're talking about, right?
Yeah.
And the point is, like we've been talking about with the Visibility University, build something people can find. Some content spikes, some content compounds, right? We're all pro. If you can get a viral and a spike, great. But we want content that's just going to continue to grow and show up and be attached to you, to give you that authority, to give you
And
the proof.
And it usually, when I look at, like, I know a bunch of like YouTube coaches and they post screenshots of like their students and their content, and the spikes come from frequency. Um, because when you're looking at like, if you go into your YouTube dashboard on the back end, you look at your performance over a year, like YouTube's going to like shame you, showing you how little activity you have. You're going to have a little activity on the viewers. And then when it's like a posting every single day, if you can get to that frequency of once a day, you'll see that the spikes grow. And then when you see when you see a certain spike, it's like, what content was that? And then retry it. Because obviously there's certain things that you can say or do or demonstrate in your profession that are going to get those spikes, but it's going to come from frequency of posting.
Exactly. And it's about people finding you, right? And they can't find you if you don't have content. And if you're not showing up, they can't find you. And then when you stop, so if you're making content, you're starting to build that traction, and then you disappear, all that traction is lost, right? So it's about just getting something consistent, making it, you don't have to have a video every day. You do not need to do 4 lives a week.
It can be
You need to
replayed.
start
I'm saying there's so many tools out there.
replays once a week, getting something, even if it's replayed from earlier in the month, making shorts from it. One piece of content can go a really long way, because we have to remember, people are not online and on all platforms at the same time you're posting. So posting something you've already made, I think sometimes people get stuck on, well, I've already done it, it's old. But the reality is, how many people didn't even really see it? And we know certain platforms like Facebook, And I'm sure Instagram and TikTok, it's like it's there and then it's gone, right? And unless you go searching for that person, you're never going to see that content again unless they repost it. So we have to get out of that fear. And I think this is an interesting thing, being that I've been in sales for a long time in my career and stuff like that. And like the fear of, talking about something, feeling like you're talking about it too much. Like, oh, people are tired of hearing it. You might be tired of hearing it because you're the one saying it, but all those other people have not heard you say it that 100,000 times you've practiced it. They're lucky if they've heard it 3 or 4 times, right? So that is also, I think, like, it's a state of mind. That's really what we try to help people through as well, is keeping that state of mind that, you know what, we have to just assume nobody sees anything you're doing so that you can't overdo it. And if somebody does come back and say, I see you too much and you're too noisy, that's actually a good thing, because it's almost impossible to be
Come
seen too
on,
much.
I've been told a lot that I promote too much, and I'm like, I'm not even started yet. So
Exactly.
I'm like,
Exactly. They're like, you
I'm just
might be
getting in.
seeing me.
I'm just getting into it because we have this restream, and I'm like, hey, we can go in and like schedule our stuff to go more often, more frequent. It's so much easier to do it this way, but I got to get into the mentality of using the tools.
All I can think is that somebody that comes back and says you're posting too much, they're just randomly, out of what coincidence, weird things happen in this
Well, because
matrix
they
reality.
follow you, whether they see you twice in a week. Oh,
But
you're
they're on
posting.
social media so much that they see you. There's somebody that's always on, so they're gonna see you, right? So what platform?
Or that, you know what? I've actually had a lot of comments recently on like this one video I made about like TELUS Internet like 5 years ago. I've got a lot of comments on it recently, and I'm like, oh, is that short now getting like legs? Years later, it's getting legs because
Well,
obviously people are
you know
pissed
what
off
is
at TELUS
interesting?
apparently, so they're searching there.
Well, interestingly enough, one of the things, not related but kind of related, in our astrology, especially I know in my astrology, and I know it does overlap because we were born in the same year, we have certain things that are similar, is some of our authority and things we've come across is before the majority have that same experience. So I know in my charts, I will be one of the first ones to have a bad experience, a good experience, whatever is going to happen. I will have it before the majority come to the same conclusion. So it's funny because this will happen often where I'm already done using that software. People are going on, oh, this is so great. It's the newest thing. I'm like, no, it's not. It sucks. Been there, done that. I've already moved on, right? So I find that interesting when you start to see trends like that, right?
Oh,
And
but,
and a,
we've had other friends, like other monetized YouTubers, bring us tell us that they're like, I know you're telling me to broadcast every week, but I don't feel like it because my most popular videos are like 6 years old, and I'm like, yeah, but in 6 years from now, you want your 2026 videos to be the most popular.
exactly. So if you notice something and you're having that thing, it's worth talking about it, because you never know. Because now obviously TELUS Internet is bugging people because it is not good. It's not.
So that they're searching for how do we fix TELUS Internet, and my videos popping up is pretty much
Exactly,
what's
because
happening.
you were all like, that's a whole
That's what
nother episode of an hour to talk about that.
exactly right, is making content and not expecting overnight wins. Overnight wins and virality are amazing if you can get them, but we're teaching you just show up, be consistent, because it's going to compound over time. And once
When
you get
everybody
feedback,
else has given up, when that AI has given up, when that person that is meant to be doing it.
if you can outlast all the other creators in your niche, you're gonna those videos will live forever, and you can always repurpose your content. You'd be like, hey, look at what I was talking about 5
And
years
when
ago, and I
somebody
still
new
corrected about
finds you,
this.
exactly. And when somebody new finds you, they go to your channel, they're like, holy crap, this person has a library of
Well,
content.
no,
Wow.
I bring that up a lot. I'm like, why did I not like these videos that are like 10 years old? Why didn't I know this 10 years ago, or even 5 years ago? I could have saved myself so much hassle.
Well, in
But
fairness, we don't know what we don't know till we know it, right? Or until we ask the right question, right? And it's interesting because even me going back to a lot of the videos I made from 5 years ago, I'm like, wow, this is still good. I like my stuff. And I'm like, I have such an assortment. And what's interesting, again, another side note, and then we're going to finish this up with the Uranus and Gemini. What I was learning last night as I was doing some research for the live on Sunday is it really likes things being combined that weren't traditionally together. So things that we've been combining and I've been combining, I've been ahead of the loop. So astrology and technology, we're talking about that. We're talking about that every week about how the energies overlap and then how technology overlaps. So bringing those type of concepts together. All the different concepts we're using this two truths and a lie. So combining an am I the asshole style with like a game to inform you on technology issues. So in like a way that we can really bring up how important and how these things aren't really being talked about, but you need to be aware of, but in a totally different way, right? So this is the time that if you can bring things that don't traditionally have never been together because people never really thought how of or saw how they do work together, that is something that's going to grow in this trend as well. So whatever you're doing, bringing that uniqueness will help, as a side note. Oh, there's lots of cancers. Oh, Lucretia, I know I'm a Cancer. My birthday's next Sunday. You have a lot of home, a lot of family. And then when you start looking into like different transits and stuff like that, like all of my stuff overlap with Uranus and Gemini. And it's so weird. It's like everything is being emphasized, especially once my birthday hits. So we'll see how that all works. Fourth and then the 15th. Oh, wow. Well, I didn't even know it was his birthday. That's or the 15th is it July? No, it's July, right? Yes. That's what I did know his birthday was in July. That's awesome. Yeah, the cancers. We're also emotional. Mike has no comment.
That's why I'm an emotional generator. Like I literally have to wait on decisions for like a good week because I can't. I get so emotional, and then I get fiery. So
And
like I
then
take
I
it
feel
really
ya. I feel
you
ya.
know what? And when I meet certain people, I'm like, you seem a lot like me. And like, are you a Sagittarius? I'm like, how did you know?
Well, there. You know what? It's funny because there is certain signs you just have like it's a stereotype. It is like they just have certain features that go like that. But I do, Lucretia, I totally get that when I talk. Oh, I feel like that's the first thing. It's not going to be
Julie's
about
like, you're hurting
logic.
my feelings. And I'm like, it's
Exactly.
not
It's like I
intentional. And I
feel this.
literally just pointed out something. So how is that hurting your feelings? And I'm like, you hurt my feelings all the time. Just saying.
I
we're
have
just
lots of
like
feelings.
emotional, and that's like
Well, and in
if
fairness,
something
I get
happens, I
it.
have to like.
And Sagittarius is like the opposite, no emotions.
No, there is emotions. It's just different. And in fairness, logic comes after the feelings. Like I'm feeling it and intuiting it, and I will tell Mike straight up. I will tell him like me going on the rant about this, listening to this video of this person that literally uses AI for the entire
I'm
process, right?
and I'm just
And I'm like,
watching it for information, so I know
that doesn't matter. My
I
feelings
can
are
point them
I'm
out in the
affected.
anyway. I'm just like I need to conduct market research and know who's
And
doing
so
what. So if a
he
student comes,
balances out my feelings. So
because
when I'm all like telling him my feeling opinion, then he tells me the logic, and I go, "Well, whatever, your logic makes sense,
well,
but I'm going to tell you how I
well,
feel
it's one of those
anyway."
things. It's good to know who's out there in your niche, who seems to be doing well, and how, and like deconstructing how they did it, because
What can you
usually
learn?
there's shortcuts. Usually
Exactly.
there's shortcuts, and those shortcuts haven't been flagged by YouTube yet. We'll just put that
Exactly.
out there. Don't do
And
shortcuts. I've had other people come and show me their channels, and I'm like, you got flagged because you did a shortcut. They're like, no, I didn't. It looks like you did it. If I look at your channel, it looks like you did a shortcut. But you can.
well, and it's being really authentic, right? Actually being real, showing up, offering what your knowledge is. You're building that authority that people can find you because you constantly keep showing up. That is the rapport, building that trust, and building the content. So when they do need your help and assistance, because the reality is people that are following you may not need your assistance until a certain time in their life. And then just like you with this TELUS one, right?
100%. I earlier in this call I talked about sales cycles, right? And some people know they got a sales cycle of 3 to 6 months. I'm like, you know what? People ask me questions years later, and I'm like, what? You still haven't moved past this this question about your website you asked me 3 years ago. You still haven't made a change. So that's how long the
So
sales cycle is.
everybody's at a different speed, right? And so you just meet them where they are by creating consistent content on what your skill set is, because there is very few people that will step into the authority of sharing their knowledge, sharing their information, and we need more people doing it. YouTube wants more people doing it. They want more people showing up, mastering it, and telling their story, because that's how they make money, is through commercials. They want you to make content so you can make money. Like, it actually, they do want you to create.
They want you
So
to
that
show.
is the summary.
YouTube wants you to show up, and we have a perfect example of that. We went to the Dallas YouTube creators event yesterday, and it was like not full, and people were leaving early. Versus the one in Toronto was packed, and people stayed late. Different venues, different cities. Obviously, Toronto's bigger than Dallas, I bet. But it was just like two, you know, it was just two completely different worlds. So I'm like, this is super
It
interesting.
was very different. It was, right? And that is the spice of life, is that the reality is who your people are can be very different. And if you don't put out your signal, they'll never find you when they have that question you can solve, right? So really, our focus is to help you build a process so people can find you, right? So really, we want you to build your visibility engine. So, again, as always, you can join us every Saturday here on YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, wherever you're watching us. So, do make sure you're subscribed. You can jump on, send us a comment asking us questions. This is always here to help motivate you. But if you do need some more help, we've got different levels to assist you. We've got the lead with us, our Momentum Club, so you can get some little bit of private one-on-one. You get to join us and ask us your questions directly. You get access to a Discord server, so we can help you with anything you come across. Our next level up, we're working more hands on with you. We'll show up to your lives. We'll help you once a month step through. We'll have a full-on meeting and help you with any tech issues you have. And then, of course, you've got the private member options as well. Now, if you need a lot more help and you need somebody holding your hand, we've got installing it with us, our visibility engine sprint, and we will legitimately help you build and get your process started from stage one, because each person's going to need different things. Some people just need, like the middle stage, where they just need a reminder, somebody like, oh, when are you going to show up? We want to show up for you this week, right? Just somebody kind of just poking you and there just to answer those questions. Some people need a lot more support. So wherever you're at, we have an option for you. Any comments on that?
People need the, have you made content yet this week? No. I'm like, well, I haven't. Like, you need to get it. Even if you're just recording it and it's not for public eyes, we want to get you into it's got to be in your planner, paper planner, digital planner, whatever you use to organize your life. You got to get the content scheduled in. And it's easier to do it in small little bits and pieces and start to build it up versus trying to do a lot in, like, a lot of people say batch work. I'm like, I don't really think anybody, when they do batch work, really gets it well done unless they already have a complete production team ready to go. When you're getting started and you're doing it yourself, it's like you got to pick that one day a week or twice a week where you're like, okay, I got half an hour. I can get in front of the camera and just practice on-screen presence. I can practice the restream tools, and I can practice reading scripts, because each person.
You go just like me and you practice live, and that is how you
Exactly.
get better. You put yourself right out there and you're like, you know what, if I'm going to do this, I'm just going to go put myself out there. But again, we're going to help you find your groove, because each person's different. Some people are going to be way more, I need to practice in back end, I need to do this before I go live. Other people like me, let's just put it all out there
and
let's work it.
And a lot of the questions I get, I'm like, you haven't practiced. how could you tell that? I'm like, because I'm like, really? I'm like, have you tried it? I'm like, I'll try it and I'll send you screenshots of me trying it, but I want you to try it as well because we got to get comfortable with it.
Exactly, exactly. So we offer a bunch of different levels. Check them out at our website, iamyoutubefamous.com. We do have a few other services and products just to let you guys know about. Um, I have a ground your expansion. That is the astrology. We've talked a little bit about astrology. It does play a massive factor in our reality. So knowing how the energies are and working with them to help motivate you, that guide is great. It's for the rest of the month. There'll be a new July one coming out. So you can check that out at my website at breathewithinyoga.com. Breathewithinyoga.com. Then I also have my Stay Oriented, which is a 6-month guide. So it talks to you about where we're going over 6 months. That is on sale. You can check that out as well there. We are still working on our Awaken Light app. We don't have much time left to be a beta tester because we are going to be implementing and getting into the actual full-on app. All those little details are getting fine-tuned. So do check it out if you want to be a beta tester. Again, go to my website and apply to be a beta tester. I also have 1 week left of my celestial alignment journey. So this is somatic poses with healing music and breath work and yoga and with your astrology. It is a system that incorporates everything that I talk about, and it's a private session for you. So check that out. You can DM me if you are interested. And then, of course, join us for YouTube Visibility Engine, our Visibility University, every Saturday here on YouTube at 9 a.m. Eastern. And why don't you, any other comments, Mike, or do you want to go over the schedule?
No, I just we're practicing what we preach. We say get visible, come up with content, make shows, and build your audiences. So we have Saturday. It started all with the Saturday morning, 9 a.m. Eastern YouTube University. It spun into Visibility University just because it's not. We started with YouTube only, and we're like, wait a minute, with this amazing tool, Restream, we can literally take our content and repurpose it everywhere and run reruns. So hence the
And
name
then
change.
going, why isn't everybody? Because we saw and all
Because
we hear is people getting into trouble on platforms. And so we're
exactly.
like, this is the solution.
So Saturdays 9 a.m. Eastern for Visibility University. Sundays is the weekly energy forecast, the Breathe Within Yoga Show, 7:11 p.m. Eastern every Sunday. Mondays is a Too Real, Two Truths and a Lie, our version of Am I the Asshole? And
All
then
based on technology and horror stories and technology, which is, you want to learn straight up. This is a wonderful way to learn how to protect yourself and become more aware
and
about.
guess what? We're doing a technology. We're doing that show, and none of this is AI. This is all real humans sitting in front of a laptop recording through a MacBook on Restream. So
I use AI to help me make images. I use AI to help me with scripts, but I have to. And it was funny because Lucretia did make a comment about going through her script. If I miss something, because I've done that, like you have to go through your AI scripts. So even if you give them the exact same prompt every time, AI likes to just decide not to do stuff or just make things weirdly phrased. Like there's so much needed of human intervention still that just as a side note, you still can't trust AI completely.
and this is why I say, like, whatever tools you're using, I still want you to read through them because let's face it, our shows, we use scripts. We use scripts for them. We have show cards, so Julie spends time building out the script and how long it's, like, we want these show this one today. University is taking longer than an hour, but we read through them. So it's not an AI bot reading your script. Like, we're literally going through it and we're like, okay, and we're always adjusting for time, and we're like, well, I don't like
Well,
how I wrote. We've read through this a couple times, and when I'm live, I'm like, I'm gonna just ad lib or improv and just change the way it's worded, right?
and in
Because the more
fairness, my scripts are more jot notes and I like to improv and talk about it, right? So then you're
I,
adding the human part.
I'm sorry, I was trained in front of the camera to read a script line by line, no deviation.
So we have conflicting
My wife's
styles. I'm
like,
like,
you
just
read
go
off the
with
script too
it.
much. And I'm
Just
like,
wing
I was
it.
not allowed to deviate on the Hollywood scripts because they would stop filming if you didn't read your line right. There was no, you were not allowed to improv.
So we're always teaching each other. I'm promoting Mike to be more improvisational. That's a word, right? And then I'm also getting to be a little more clear of things that should be in the script and making sure it sounds good. So we're kind of both implementing them together, and that's how you get better, right? And if we weren't practicing, we wouldn't get this experience, right? So showing up, you can come join us live 4 times a week. Come and join us. And then, I think the last one we didn't mention was Honestly Though, which is Thursdays. And it is a mixture of astrology and news. So we look at astrology, we look at news, and it often overlaps with the technology. And it is very encompassing. Again, it's very much of an add-on to the Too Real about like, where are we going? What are the energies supporting? And what is really happening in this reality that we're living in. So these all seem very different. So this is interesting because it's very much all our shows are Uranus and Gemini of kind of things that weren't ever put together being put together to give the viewers more information, more a deeper sense of how these things can work together because they're not separate. Technology, astrology, the being visible, these things are not actually separate. They all actually complement each other, which is kind of an interesting how this has worked its way out. But do join us. We're live. Follow us on at Breathe Within Yoga on YouTube and at I Am YouTube Famous. You can follow us there. You'll be notified when we go live. Any
And if you're
final
looking,
comments?
no, and everybody, like, I get this question a lot of times, where's replays? I Am YouTube Famous. It's simple. It's easy to find on YouTube, and these are just purely live streamed to YouTube. And it's good question. Where's the replays for this show? YouTube. Simple and easy to find. If you subscribe and turn on the notifications, you're gonna get an email every time we go live, which is every Saturday 9 a.m. So if you subscribe to us on YouTube, you're gonna get the link every single Saturday.
Every single. So you can join us and then bring your questions and we will be happy to answer them. So as we end for now, thank you, Lucretia, for showing up. We will see you Wednesday for our private session and then let us know when you're going live again, okay?
And let me
And
know if you get your microphone thing figured out, because I am anticipating waiting some results.
They sent me a quote that plays it, so I just have to
Okay.
decide when I'm
Okay.
gonna go. So I'm
Okay.
gonna try to go today. We'll see if I've got time.
Okay. It's always good. I always love feedback from friends and clients. I'm like, hey, did the advice, did this work? Did this work? Because the knowledge bank just needs to keep growing, because that's just how I get through life.
And things are always
Knowledge,
changing. So if we
data.
get a better way of fixing something, we want to give it a better way, right? So on
Yeah.
that, we will see everybody tomorrow night. I'll be live at 7:11 Eastern for the weekly energy. We are going into the solstice and into by the end of the week, we'll be just on the verge of the Mercury retrograde that's hitting for June and July. So it's some interesting
Right.
astrology. Yeah, there you go, Mercury retrograde. It's an interesting one this time. So do join me to find out what is going on. Mike will be with me, and that'll be tomorrow night at 7:11. So join us then, and we will see everybody here again next Saturday.
Bye.
Bye.